In 1934, an African-American pastor from Georgia made the trip of a lifetime, sailing across the Atlantic Ocean, through the gates of Gibraltar, and across the Mediterranean Sea to the Holy Land. After this pilgrimage, he traveled to Berlin, attending an international conference of Baptist pastors. While in Germany, this man, who was named Michael King, became so impressed with what he learned about the reformer Martin Luther that he decided to do something dramatic. He offered the ultimate tribute to the man's memory by changing his name to Martin Luther King. His 5-year-old son was also named Michael, and to the son's dying day, his closest relatives would still call him Mike. But not long after the boy's father changed his own name, he decided to change his son's name too, and Michael King Jr. became known to the world as Martin Luther King Jr. This father-son name change is just one dramatic measure of the influence of Martin Luther. Luther's writings and actions so altered the landscape of the modern world that much of what we now take for granted may be traced directly to him, the quirky genius of Wittenberg. Hi, I'm Shannon. Whoa, that is terrifying. I'm so sorry. Wow.
That's a secret.
Hey guys, Shannon here, and what I just read to you was an excerpt from Martin Luther, the man who rediscovered God and changed the world, a biography by Eric Metaxas. You may have heard of Eric Metaxas before from his other biographies like Seven Men, Seven Women, his biography of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, which is titled Bonhoeffer, Pastor, Martyr, Prophet, Bird, Plane, Superman, Prophet Spy. That's only funny if you've seen the book title. Sorry. Metaxas is famous for his super dynamic biographies, and what would Reformation Month be if we didn't talk about the famous reformer Martin Luther and some of the fantastic works that have been written about him? There's a ton of stuff out there about Luther and about his contribution to the Reformation. Some of it's really good, some of it's really dated, some of it's really modern. I personally really loved Metaxas' biography of Martin Luther, just because of what a dynamic writer Metaxas is. A little bit about the author. He used to work for VeggieTales as a writer. He's also super cute. Look at that face. Metaxas. Wow. He's a super cute little guy. He's hosted debates and apologetic stuff before, and he's also written books on a number of modern day evangelical topics, namely miracles. Yeah, so a personal favorite of mine is his biography of Luther. The way that Metaxas writes is just so fun. He goes into details about Luther's life in a way that's super personal. It makes you really not just see the strengths of Luther, our hero of the Reformation, but also his flaws, which is great because Paul said, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me." Seeing the humanness of this revered historical figure is so great for a lot of reasons, and I think Metaxas, with just his dynamic and fun writing style, really brings a lot of that humanity through. Some examples of that, he talks about Luther's anger issues, his slow decline into being kind of kooky near the end of his life, and also his chronic constipation that he suffered with, which, to be honest, don't we all? Another thing that I love about Metaxas' biography is that he's super into myth debunking and accessibility to the modern day reader. So it's fun and it's understandable. And now for some critiques. Whoops. Okay. In preparation for this book talk, I did some crowdsourcing of some really smart Reformed women and men at my church here in Harrisonburg, just kind of asking what they think about Metaxas' biography, and I got some mixed reviews, which is good. One in particular that stuck out to me was a lady who didn't particularly care for how Luther is painted as an evangelical during the Renaissance, which is far before like the evangelical movement would have, blossomed. She also critiques Metaxas' historical work, which, to be fair, I'm not a historian. I don't know. And Metaxas does make some pretty bold historical claims, so do your research and fact check when working with this book with your primary and secondary sources, or at least just take it all with a grain of salt, like you should when you're reading anything that's not the Bible. After everything's said and done, I personally love Metaxas' work, and the story of Martin Luther is just so much fun, especially the story of how Luther met his wife, a little bit of Katie Luther's story, which is adorable, and he also just goes on these fun little side tangents. Like, there's this whole thing about, like, a pope with, like, his pet elephant who, like, falls into the ocean or something. I don't know. Honestly, it's been a while since I've read it. I listened to it on audiobook the first time through, because it's a big fat book. Who has the time, really? But listening to it on audiobook was a really good option for me. Through Audible, Metaxas reads it himself, which is adorable. He's such a cutie, again, just to reiterate. Tune in next week, and I'm going to be sourcing some students, talking to them about what they think about the Reformation, how it affects their daily life, or if it does at all, or if they want me to stop talking to them, or if this is not what I'm getting paid to do. Okay. Ha-ha! Bye! I'm gonna go. See you later. Doors this way.